Thanks so much for joining us. Toronto police say 2 teenagers have been arrested and charged following last week's shooting at the U.S. Consulate. The July 27th shooting involved shots being fired at the consulate, followed by a high-speed police chase.
One of the accused is 19 years old and has been charged with 15 offenses. The second accused is just 15 years old and is facing 17 offenses. Both are charged with multiple counts of failing to comply with their court-ordered release conditions. We also believe that the modus operandi in this investigation is consistent with what we saw in the previous U.S. consulate shooting, and that is criminals for hire. We believe that these 2 individuals were offered payment to carry out this attack through encrypted messaging apps. There has been significant public interest and speculation about who is behind these crimes. That remains a key focus of our investigation. We continue to work closely with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and other partners to identify those directing, organizing, and financing these attacks.
The March 10th shooting at the U.S. Consulate saw 2 suspects allegedly firing multiple shots at the building before fleeing in a stolen vehicle. 2 people have since been arrested and charged in that case, though those charges have not been tested in court. Ontario's police watchdog says a Toronto officer fatally shot the driver of an alleged stolen vehicle early this morning. The Special Investigations Unit says police tracked the stolen vehicle to Mississauga a little after midnight, and there was a collision between the vehicle and 3 unmarked police cruisers.
Inside of the Mercedes, there were 4 occupants. Following that, one officer discharged a firearm into the vehicle and the driver was struck. The driver succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced deceased at the scene. The other 3 occupants from the vehicle were taken into custody. One officer was transported to hospital for treatment of minor injuries. We're still in the process of designating who our subject officers and witness officers are, but the subject official, the person whose actions are being investigated, would be the officer who discharged the firearm. And that is different from the officer who was struck by the vehicles, thus sustaining an injury.
Police say one of the 3 suspects arrested was transported to hospital with minor injuries. The injured officer is reported to be doing well. And Toronto police have also made arrests in connection with last month's deadly shooting at the Salsa on St. Clair Festival. The July 11th gunfire killed 2 men and injured 4 others. Chief Myron Dimkew says those responsible are now in custody. Thousands of people were sent into a panic as shots rang out at the festival, forcing the cancellation of the event's 2nd day. Police have described the shooting as targeted. There wasn't a dry eye in sight at a community vigil held outside Calgary's City Hall on Wednesday evening for an 11-year-old autistic boy. Parker Wells was found dead inside a labyrinth of water pipes a week earlier. His disappearance from a Northside daycare home last month prompted a massive 2-week search that saw police officers, search and rescue experts, and residents scour city blocks and blast Disney music to try to find him. Mayor Jeremy Farkas, fighting back tears, said it's hard to make sense of what happened to young Parker.
As your mayor, people often expect me to make sense of moments like this. The truth is that I can't. I don't know why this happened. I don't know how to make sense of the loss of a child. And I don't believe anyone truly can, because the death of a child, especially a child so beloved like Parker, it'll never make sense. No speech, no title, no words, none of that is ever going to change that. But what I do know is that Parker mattered.
In other news, federal Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says the Prime Minister needs to focus on the results he promised when it comes to getting a trade deal with the U.S. Mark Carney said recently Canada's tone toward the United States is quite firm and insists trade negotiations with Washington are constructive as an August 19th deadline for new U.S. tariffs draw near. Poilievre says things have been anything but constructive, though. It's been one concession after another.
He backed down on the digital services tax, the Netflix tax. He agreed to Mr. Trump's demands on military spending and counter tariffs. So we still do have some leverage that Mr. Carney has not yet squandered. We have military purchases and our massive capacity to build up our and stockpile our natural resources to the potential benefit of tariff-free allies. I would bring that and other leverage to the table as quickly as possible. And I would say the United States wants to get what it wants. We want what we want, which is tariff-free access to their market for aluminum, steel, autos, and lumber.
The U.S. has threatened to impose new 50% tariffs on a wide range of Canadian imports in about 2 weeks. Canada's top trade officials are in Washington this week for a series of meetings aimed at advancing the talks. A U.S. Senate committee has voted to hold former top health official Anthony Fauci in contempt of Congress after he refused to answer questions during a hearing examining his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. Not surprisingly, the vote fell along party lines, with Republicans in favor and Democrats opposed.
Seeing no other motions, the question is on reporting of an original resolution regarding contempt of Congress. The clerk will call the roll.
Senator Johnson.
Yes.
Senator Langford.
Aye.
Senator Scott.
Yes.
Senator Hawley.
Aye.
Senator Moreno.
On behalf of the millions of people harmed by Anthony Fauci, resoundingly yes.
Senator Ernst. Aye. Senator Moody. Aye. Senator Peters.
No.
Senator Hassan.
No.
Senator Blumenthal.
No.
Senator Fetterman.
No.
Senator Kim.
No.
Senator Gallego.
No by proxy.
Senator Slotkin.
No by proxy.
Senator Paul.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, on the vote of those present, the yeas are 8, the nays are 5. On the vote by proxy, and for the record only, the yeas are 0, the nays are 2. On this vote, the yeas are 8, the nays are 5, and the motion is agreed to.
During his testimony last week, Fauci invoked his constitutional right against self-incrimination more than 100 times, arguing that committee chair and Kentucky Senator Rand Paul was trying to put him behind bars. The vote clears the way for the committee to refer the case to the Justice Department for potential prosecution for failing to comply with a congressional subpoena. It remains unclear whether the department will pursue the case. Alberta's government is facing 6 workplace safety-related charges in the death of a firefighter during the massive 2024 Jasper National Park wildfire. 24-year-old Morgan Kitchen from Calgary died when he was hit by a falling tree. The charges against the Ministry of Forestry and Parks allege Kitchen's employer, quote, failed to ensure the safety of workers by not adequately assessing and controlling hazards arising from dangerous trees. The ministry is also charged with failing to exclude workers from a hazardous place or a place that had not been adequately assessed. With the case before the courts, the Ministry of Forestry and Parks is not commenting on the charges. Workers and their supporters gathered outside Legacy Lodge in Lethbridge at midday Thursday, calling for what they describe as a fair collective agreement. Members of the Alberta Union of Provincial Employees, or AUPE, say the wages offered by the employer fall short of those paid to continuing care workers employed by Alberta Health Services. AUPE Vice President Andrew Wilson says the wage gap is making it difficult to recruit and retain staff in the continuing care sector.
LPN right now, they're approaching $6 an hour less working for Legacy Lodge than they are for Alberta Health Services. Environmental services are paid lower to begin with than healthcare aides and licensed practical nurses. We did a rally for a different employer yesterday in Rocky Mountain House. We did 2 in McGrath and Raymond, and we are planning further ones that across the continuing care sector.
My wage here after 6 years as a rec assistant is more than $2 less per
hour for where people start. So like I look at jobs that are advertised, starting wage is more than $2 more than what I get. The number one thing is we want our employers to come back to the table and give us a fair deal. We want higher staffing ratios so that our residents are getting better care. And as our vice president here likes to say, is that they are the people who built this province. They deserve better.
In preparation of next week's Special Olympics in Medicine Hat, 2 athletes who compete from Lethbridge will represent Team Alberta in a variety of swimming competitions. Our reporter, London Hickok, got to meet up with them and see how they're preparing for nationals.
Alex McCulloch and Bryce Collier are 2 of 130 athletes competing in swimming next week in Medicine Hat. They'll take part in various freestyle, backstroke, and relay competitions. The 2 train together with the Lethbridge Special Olympics Club for multiple sessions a week in preparation.
We're really excited. It's been great. We've been training for a long time, almost 2 years, and I'm just really excited for him to meet new people and to do his best.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of hard work to get there, but I mean, it pays off in the end.
Well, we've been having training on Tuesdays and Sundays, and Tuesdays is basically working on our lengths, and Sunday we have a 2-hour training session, so we work on a lot of technical work during that time.
I feel good. Even more good, I am feeling great, and I hope to give my all.
Alex has been swimming competitively since 2008 and is heading to his 2nd national competition. At the 2025 Alberta Summer Games, he was able to rack up 5 silver medals and 1 gold. He says he's more than ready to go for this year's nationals.
The way basically I see it, you just focus on what you're doing. Just don't really worry about really anyone else. Just focus on you. Nothing else really matters. That's the way I've always kind of saw it.
He's starting to be one of the older swimmers, so he's 36, and he is competing right side by side, but a lot of like the 25-year-olds. So it's kind of exciting for me as a mom to see that he is maintaining that skill level.
Bryce has only recently begun swimming with Lethbridge at 19 years old and was able to clinch 2 gold medals and a bronze at provincials. Now at 21, he says he's simply glad to be meeting new people and having fun along the way.
Sometimes it becomes natural to me. Like, you feel pumped. And when you have that energy, you let it out when you get into the water. And the other thing that matters, just do your best. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. All that matters is you're in the moment and you're just having fun.
The 2026 Special Olympics Canada Summer Games takes place August 11th through till the 15th, with the potential for the 2 of representing Team Canada in Worlds next year in Santiago, Chile.
I think that as a team, we're all such a great group and we motivate each other. And I think that the focus becomes everybody's personal best.
For bridgecitynews, I'm London Hickok.
Thank you so much, Landon. Attention, millennials and anyone who loves the unforgettable music of the 90s up to 2010. Today is the long-awaited premiere of Millennium, New West Theater's newest musical production, packed with iconic hits, outrageous comedy, dazzling costumes, and powerhouse performances. The show takes audiences on a high-energy trip back to the Y2K era and promises 2 weeks of nostalgia that will have them singing and dancing all the way home.
It's lots of fun, high energy, the jokes are great, the choreography is amazing, the music selection is awesome, we're super excited.
I'm gonna say we have an English madrigal.
Oh, yes,
love.
yes.
I hope that our younger generations, when I was seeing the shows, I would go home and look up songs that I didn't know that I really loved.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping maybe our younger people will like hear some music they've never heard before and go home and put it on their iTunes.
Yeah.
People can expect to hear some Alanis Morissette, some Celine Dion, Christina Aguilera, R.E.M.
Yeah, we tossed in a little bit of country with Lady A, makes an appearance. And then there are a few other surprises for folks that, you know, we'll keep close to the vest so that people can come and see for themselves.
Our costume designer took influences and inspiration from the beaches of Greece, sort of warm whites, the golden sands.
And then we take that beauty and insert truly ridiculous comedy in the middle of it. There is one particular treat near the end of the show that I think people are going to really enjoy.
I would also say that if you're interested in any of the types of shows that are really popular nowadays, like Dancing with the Stars or, Canada's Got Talent or The Voice, then I think that you're really going to be drawn to a show like this because we have so many performers of all ages.
It's also really fun because even though it's about the millennium in the 1990s to the 2010s, we've got Gen Xers, Millennials, and Gen Zs ranging in all those age groups in the cast.
Sounds like fun. The show debuts tonight and runs through August 22nd. Performances begin at 7:30 p.m. and last about 2 hours. It's recommended for all ages 8+, for ages 8+, that is. For more information about tickets, visit newwesttheater.com. It should be a blast. I've got my ticket for tonight.
Sean Haney here with realagriculture.com. In an era of mega mergers and digital farm platforms, what actually keeps a prairie farmer loyal to their local ag retailer? New multi-year data tracking commercial producers shows that even with market consolidation, personal relationships still trump institutional branding. Trust remains personal, with producers confirming their relationship with individual sales reps matter far more than the company logos on the door. At the same time, Canadian growers are becoming increasingly analytical and self-reliant. Confidence in on-farm agronomy and product knowledge has steadily climbed over the last decade, especially on larger commercial-scale operations using data-driven decision tools. What does this mean for the retail driveway? Farmers are demanding more than just product delivery. They expect high-level technical expertise. For retailers looking to earn Canadian farmers' business, competitive pricing gets you in the door, but credibility and trust, follow-through, and personal trust are what keep the contract signed. For Bridge City News, I'm Sean Haney with realagriculture.com.
The union representing WestJet flight attendants has shared details of the tentative deal reached with the Calgary-based airline this week after a one-day strike. We get those details from Canadian press reporter John Kennedy.
The Canadian Union of Public Employees says the deal includes a more than 18% wage hike over 3 years, as well as a new duty period premium that adds compensation for work done on the ground. It also includes increased time off and higher food and uniform allowances, among other things. All WestJet flights across much of Canada were grounded in what was a long weekend holiday for many, as the clock ticked down to a strike by 4,400 flight attendants who walked off the job early on Sunday morning. The air carrier and the union reached a tentative deal early Monday, and WestJet operations gradually returned to normal. Cabin crew members are set to vote on the deal in the coming weeks.
Potentially tens of thousands of Canadians can now claim up to $5,000 from a new settlement stemming from a class action lawsuit involving a private breach within the Canada Revenue Agency. The lawsuit came after hackers targeted accounts accessing confidential personal and financial information, and in some cases submitted fraudulent applications for financial benefits, including CERB benefits. The settlement was reached back in December of last year and approved in court this May. Those who might have experienced a privacy breach in their Government of Canada account between March 1st of 2020 and December 31st of 2020 are eligible to claim a piece of the $8.7 million up for grabs. Canadians can make a claim by February 3rd of next year and can apply or check their eligibility on KPMG. And now here's a look at today's markets.
The TSX was down 10 to 36,136. The Dow is down 464 to 53,885. The S&P 500 was down 13 to 7,709. And the NASDAQ was down 15 to 26,348. West Texas Intermediate oil was up 306 to 78.28 US per barrel. Natural gas was down 5 cents to 263 US. Gold was down 27.50 to 42.1990 US an ounce, and silver was down 49 cents to 61.52 US an ounce. Feed wheat is at $7.89 per bushel. Barley is at $5.77. Canola is at $17.42, and corn is at $7.60 per bushel. Live cattle were down $2.95 to $231.22. Feeder cattle were down $5.27 to $348.05. Lean hogs were down $1.10 to $95.50. And the Canadian dollar was up slightly over the past 24 hours and currently sits at 71.40 US.
Recapping one of today's top stories, a 19-year-old man and 15-year-old boy are each facing more than a dozen charges in connection with last month's shooting at the U.S. Consulate in Toronto. Investigators believe this incident was a criminals for hire operation like the consulate shooting earlier this year that also led to 2 arrests. Police and Mayor Olivia Chow called it a brazen attack despite a highly visible police presence at the consulate. Up next, the Edmonton Police Service went viral on social media, asking members of the public to snitch on their neighbors. Dave Naylor with the Western Standard has more on that after the break. Also, when you see news happening in your community, be sure to send us an email at info@bridgecitynews.ca. You can also visit our website or YouTube channel anytime to check out more of our content and poll questions.